Kurt, but this is great.
I know. And Judge, did you already let Ms. Brookins in?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think, and I'm going to say this, I just am so impressed with everyone that this is taking such a concerted effort to make things happen the way things are happening. I mean, y'all are making it look easy and effortless, but it's not. And I'm just so grateful, so grateful, so grateful. All right, here we go. All right, so it looks like we're down to the last few. Now let's what's going on. I know that there's a couple that you're probably going to change your announcements on. So Mr. Prothero, you are first out. As soon as we're done with everything else, trust me, you're going to be first out, okay?
Sounds good, Judge.
I'm going to let the officers know to be ready
That's the
on
first
that one.
And then what about Mr. Benavidez? Javier Benavidez?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's going on with Mr. Efren? What are you going to do on that?
Well, we would like to proceed with the preliminary hearing. However, my client only speaks Spanish, so I don't know if the court has an interpreter available for us.
We do. We'll pull an interpreter in. So you'll probably be third out.
Okay.
Noon is feasible to have you in. I don't know, but between 12:15 probably and 12:30, we'll know something about when you're going to be needed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Understood.
Thank you, sir. And then Anthony Jones, is that still a hearing?
No, Your Honor, Mr. Jones accepted the bond reduction that Ms. Freeman has offered, so we will be taking a bond on Mr.
I should have known by the smile on your face. You down, Miss Reddick, huh?
A little bit.
So, I'm being facetious. Miss Freeman is not easily beat down. Not at all. All right, and then Mario Mitchell.
Mr. Mitchell understands his position and he is going to accept the $20,000 total bond that Ms. Freeman offered in lieu of having to wait until May.
Okay, great. And then the last one is Cortez Rucker.
And Judge, I will have to, I didn't know that Mr. Mitchell was going to take that, and so I didn't write that one up. So that'll be, but I can certainly write that one up after we do Conley's hearing, because I know Mr. Prothero has been waiting, and I can get that one written up after we do the hearing.
Okay.
Hello, Cheryl.
Yes.
I can barely hear you. There was something wrong with the audio, but in any event, with Cortez Rucker, that's who you're talking about. Is that right?
No, we were talking about Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Ellis.
Okay, I thought she was the Rucker. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I would just say I just need time to write up the bond for Mr. Mitchell, and I'll do that one after Conley's hearing, so Mr. Prothero could finish up.
All right, looks like we can start the hearing with for Rashad Conley. If everyone else would do what you're doing, Attorney Rose, I think you and Ms. D. Williams may be done. Is that true?
Well, Your Honor, also with Brandon Lewis's client, Ms. Harper, we actually she is doing a consent bond and waiver.
Oh, wonderful.
We had come to an agreement on a bond amount, and I forwarded that information to Mr. Lewis, and so
I'm getting that done now.
Right, and so I'll be forwarding that to Your Honor after we do the hearing, and then I think Mr. Ellis had an announcement on Rucker.
Yes, Mr. Rucker wants to accept the total bond off of $60,000.
Okay.
Okay. And so that'll. Okay, and so Your Honor, if I can, after we finish Conley's hearing, I'll type up the bonds for Rucker as well as Mitchell and get those to Ms. D. Williams. And so that way we don't have to keep putting off Mr. Prothero.
Very good.
Okay.
And I apologize if my lighting is going in and out, so.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and start this. Is your witness somewhere waiting?
Okay.
I'm
Judge, may I be
telling
Absolutely.
the investigator.
Thank you.
One second, Ms. Freeman.
May the public defender's office be excused?
Who's that?
May the public defender's office be excused, because that concludes our business.
Yes, I am going to let you go. Good job. I see what you're doing.
And Angela, right. And Angela, I'm going to be sending you Rucker as well as Mitchell after I finish the hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Judge. Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm letting you out too.
Thank
Ms.
you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Reddick. Thank you so much. Unbelievable job. Thank you. Okay, so that leaves, let's see. And Mr. Lewis, can we let Mr. Lewis out yet or no?
Your Honor, I'm doing the paperwork.
I was like, what are you doing?
The computer's on the phone. Sorry. But yeah,
We see you on the floor and then all of a
Right,
sudden
right.
you emerge.
I'm getting it scanned in right now, and I'm going to send it short.
Thank you so much. All right. And then we need to bring, is this Mr. Connolly here? We need Connolly to come up to make sure he's here for his hearing.
You need Mr. Connolly?
All right.
Well, we
Yes,
do.
please. All right. Okay.
Did she say you know?
Yes.
Yes, we need Rashad Conley, please. Thank you. Deputy.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that his family has been waiting. Attorney Prothro, do you know whether or not they're able to access the hearing through the YouTube?
It's my understanding they are on YouTube. I've been texting them. Let me just confirm that they're back on. I did tell them court was back in session.
Are you Rashad Connolly?
How you doing, video?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
And I'm just waiting for Detective Wilkerson to log in.
And as soon as I'm watching him, I don't have anyone in here yet waiting.
Okay.
Is Attorney Benavides still on?
He is.
I know his video keeps popping up and it pops up and goes back and forth. Looks like we're
I think he was driving. It looked like he was in his car at one. Not that he was driving and talking on the phone at the same time. We know he wasn't that. There he goes.
I think he's coming back.
Oh, Your Honor?
Yes, Attorney
Yes.
Bennett.
No. Yeah, what happens is I was moving stuff around here. Yes, no problem.
You didn't touch your cell phone while you were driving. That's all we know. That's all we see. That you touched your cell phone while you were driving.
I just saw his video coming back and forth.
Okay, now do you want to stay on this call, Attorney Benavides, or do you want to go into the waiting room?
Yeah, that will be better for us. Yes, Your Honor.
Just to send you into the waiting room?
Yes, the waiting room, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. And we'll make sure that someone will be in touch with you as soon as we're ready for your hearing, all right, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, Kerry, 102. And
And Judge, yes, it appears that Mr. Conley's family is able to see the hearing on live stream.
All right. I don't have the officer yet in the waiting room for him.
He's trying to log in. I just called my investigator, so he's logging in.
Okay.
Carol, I just sent you the documents. Can you just confirm receipt whenever you get a minute?
Absolutely. Me or to Ms. Freeman?
To Ms. Freeman, Your Honor.
Okay, I haven't got anything. I just glanced over.
I do have them. So I'm going to go ahead and forward those.
What's your name, sir? All right. Go down to the office down on the end. What's your name, sir?
Sanders.
Who?
Sanders.
And Judge, I just sent you the email with Ms. Harper's information.
Okay. I just see. I haven't gotten it yet. I got the last email is from Ms. D. Williams.
Okay, it's still twirling, you know, it's the Wi-Fi, of course, here is, and if it doesn't go through, I'll send it when I finish the hearing, but I do have
That's
it.
fine. As long as you have it, we can excuse Attorney Lewis. Attorney Lewis, you're free to go.
Okay, if there's an issue, Your Honor, just someone shoot me a text and I'll get right back on.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you
Okay.
so much, sir. We appreciate you. Take good care. Be
Thank
safe.
you.
All right. That leaves just us. Okay. Very good. And then there goes my officer, Officer Wilkerson, I should say.
Yes.
And Judge, do you have any difficulty hearing me?
Not at all.
Great.
Ms. Freeman, I just got the scan from you.
Okay.
I just received it. I saw it pop up on the side. So we're
Okay, good. Okay.
very good. Very, very good. Okay. Officer Wilkerson, can you hear us?
I can now, yes.
Okay, very good. All right. Let me go ahead and swear you in, sir. Do you confirm the information you give, any testimony you provide in the matter of the state versus Rashad Reynard Connolly is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Freeman?
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, please tell us your name and how you're employed.
Detective Gerald Wilkerson, employed with the Clayton County Police Department, assigned to the Clayton County Drug Task Force.
How long have you been working with the Clayton County Police Department?
Approximately 7 years.
Okay.
Were you working with the Clayton County Police Department on March 7th, 2020?
Yeah.
And on that particular day, did you come into contact with a Rashad Conley?
Correct, yeah.
Please tell us how you came into contact with Mr. Conley.
Received information from a confidential informant in reference to a subject who was selling methamphetamines. The CRI advised contact the subject by phone and have the subject meet with them at a CI at a prearranged location. We conducted.
Hold on. Officer Wilkerson, you're going in and out a little. I don't know if you're in a good location. Is anyone else having problems hearing him?
I'm having problems hearing him, Judge.
Yes, Judge, it's Latasha. I was about to chime in and tell you I could understand him.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not connected to Wi-Fi. I'm at church. I was at SWAT training, so I don't know if it's going to be an issue or not.
It seems like it is an issue because if I'm having a problem hearing you and the attorney representing Mr. Connolly, the state, and the court reporter, we're all having a problem hearing you. It's almost like we can hear you, but there's reverberation going on. So every other word is bouncing in and out. Are you able to go to another location where you may have a better connectivity with Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. Do you want us to wait so you go somewhere else where we can hear you more clearly?
All right, let me see if I can get a better, stronger signal.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Vincent again. I need Mr. Robert Jackson, 213.
Oh, I see. That's the jail, isn't it?
That's the jail.
Okay, thank you. Well, the officer, lady officer right there. 12 flowers.
Yeah, I hear better here.
Start talking.
We can try it, yeah. If you can, just tell us how you came into contact with Mr. Conley.
Well, initially it started with made contact with a CI who stated they had someone who could purchase methamphetamine from. Detective Denard and I met with the CI and had the CI contact Mr. Conley by phone. Mr. Conley agreed to meet with the CI at the Dollar Tree at 1999.
Okay.
Denard
It's a
and I-
little better. 1 second, Wilkerson.
Yes.
A little better, Officer Wilkerson, but it's not. I mean, what is the quality to?
Okay, thank you.
It's better, but it's still not totally clear.
Right, and maybe if he keeps still a little bit, Judge, it seemed like it's clearer when he's still.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had to just park.
Okay.
Okay. You've got to start over again, if you would, Officer Wilkerson.
Okay. I made contact with a confidential informant who stated they had someone they could purchase a methamphetamine from. Informant that day made contact with Mr. Conley by phone. Mr. Conley agreed to meet with the CI at the Dollar Tree located at 1950 Mount Zion Parkway. Detective Denard and I met with the CRI, checked the CRI, made sure that he didn't have any currency or anything on his person, any contraband. Detective Denard set up in the parking lot of that location. I met with the CI. I drove the CI to approximately the parking lot adjacent to the Dollar Tree. The CI walked up, made contact with Mr. Conley, who was a white Nissan Altima, and was able to purchase approximately 31 grams of methamphetamines for $400. And the whole transaction was observed by Detective Denard, who was parked directly next to Mr. Conley's vehicle.
Detective Wilkerson, was there anyone else in the vehicle with Mr. Conley during this?
No, there was not. No, it was only occupant.
After the transaction occurred, what happened?
The CRI walked back, met back up with me, and I took the CRI to another location. We recovered the methamphetamines, and then we searched CI to make sure he didn't have anything else on his person.
And how was Mr. Conley apprehended?
All right. After conducting the buy, I did a GCIC check of the tag. It came back registered to Cynthia Ann Flanders and a Patricia Jones at 1601 Lake Ridge Parkway. From there, I checked the whole building, the 1600 building, for possible suspects. Identified Mr. Conley as one of the suspects, or the suspect. Subsequently, we did 2 more buys from Mr. Conley at or in close proximity to his apartment. And both the CRI and Detective Denard positively identified him from photos from social media, as well as a previous mugshot of Mr. Conley out of Florida.
Now, Detective, you talked about a 600 building that you went to. Is this a resident? So what type of location is this?
He was residing at 1604 Lake Ridge Parkway. It's an apartment complex.
And were you able to determine the relationship of who the registered owner of the vehicle was to Mr. Conley?
No, I believe it may have just been a neighbor's car he was borrowing.
Okay. So the warrant was for March 7th of 2020. Is that from the buy of the 31 grams of meth to the CRI?
Yes, we only took out one arrest warrant for that trafficking of methamphetamine.
And was the methamphetamine submitted into evidence?
Yes, it was submitted and it should have been submitted to the drug and crime lab.
And I believe you already testified to, but what was the amount of that?
31 grams of a white crystal substance we feel tested positive for methamphetamine.
Did this take place in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross-exam, Attorney Prothero.
Thank you, Judge. Detective Wilkerson, my name is George Prothero. I represent Mr. Conley. How are you this morning?
I'm doing all right. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Just want to clarify a couple of things. First and foremost, are you the same Detective Jay Wilkerson that took out a warrant that resulted in this case?
Yes.
And is that warrant number 2019 CW 52685?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you are the same Officer Jay Wilkerson that is listed as the prosecutor on that warrant. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And so this warrant was taken out on June the 20th, 2019 at 11:13 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And just for purposes of clarification, perfecting the record, I think you've testified twice during this hearing that this incident occurred on March the 7th, 2020.
2019.
I was going to clarify that. Is it in fact that the date of this transaction was March the 7th, 2019?
Correct.
Okay. And so you took out this warrant 3.5 months after the alleged incident date. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And why was Mr. Conley not apprehended at the time of the initial purchase?
Oh, because we want to try to work him up, and subsequently we actually made 2 more additional buys. I believe the last buy we did was in April.
Mm-hmm. And during that during that time, during your investigation, between the time of the initial March 7th, March 7th, 2019 incident, and you applying for the warrant in June, did you ever speak to the owner of the vehicle, Cynthia Flanders?
No, I did not.
Did you ever, so you never confirmed with her whether Mr. Conley in fact had her vehicle, is that correct?
Correct, I did not.
Okay, and you said that there were photos shown to 2 people, I believe. Who were the photos of Mr. Conley shown to?
To Detective Denard and the CRI.
Okay, and Detective Denard, was Detective Denard on site on March the 7th, 2019?
Yes, he was parked. He was actually parked directly next to the white Nissan Maxima in the parking lot.
Okay, and did Detective Denard participate in you mentioned 2 additional buys after March the 7th. Was he a participant in those buys?
Yes, he did.
Okay. This confidential informant, how did you make contact with the CI?
Do you mean how did the CI? Initially, I made contact with him by phone.
Okay, so did you initiate the CI's involvement, or did the CI contact you with information?
The CI contacted me.
Okay.
And told me he had a target.
Okay, and have you worked with the CI before?
Yes, sir.
On how many occasions?
The CR has been working since 2018. So multiple.
Okay. Does the CI, I believe the number you listed, I understand their identity is confidential, but I believe you listed them as 2018-0003. That's 3 zeros. Does this CI have a criminal history?
Yeah.
Is this CI a convicted felon?
I don't recall right offhand. I don't believe.
Does this CI currently have any open cases in Clayton County?
I don't believe so.
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point. I don't believe these questions, the additional questions about the CI are relevant to the purpose of probable cause today.
Yeah, I think the CI goes directly to probable cause. The CI is listed as a confidential informant for Clayton County, and it was the CI that initiated the contact with allegedly with the person that they are now saying is Mr. Conley. I'm trying to establish, Your Honor, whether the CI is in fact a reliable informant, because I think that's the whole basis of the police's relationship with this informant. So I think my questions as to their working relationship with the CI are completely relevant.
Response, Ms. Freeman?
Your Honor, I'm going to stand on my objection. I don't think this is the proper forum for that. I think if Mr. Prothero, if the case is bound over and the attorney decides to file a suppression motion, I think that would be grounds to bring up any concerns he has regarding the CI.
I agree. I'm going to sustain the objection of Ms. Freeman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes,
Officer Wilkerson, Detective Wilkerson, you were present for the transaction?
I was not direct. I did not directly observe the transaction. No,
Okay.
Detective Bernard did.
Okay, so you are testifying today, but you didn't actually see the purchase. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Sir.
And so prior to March the 7th, March the 7th, 2019, had you ever encountered or made contact with Mr. Conley before?
No, sir.
Did you have any prior history with Mr. Conley?
No, sir.
Had you ever arrested him before March the 7th, 2019?
No.
Okay. Do you know if your confidential informant had ever been in contact with Mr. Conley prior to March the 7th, 2019?
I believe he had. Yeah.
Okay. Your testimony today is based off of your police report. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that the report associated with case number 190115522?
Yes.
But to reiterate, or to go back to your previous testimony, as to the facts that occurred that day, you have no personal knowledge about the controlled buy. Is that correct?
I mean, I didn't see the transaction between the CRI and Mr. Conley. Detective Denard witnessed that.
Right, but my question is, you did not witness the controlled purchase. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you have no personal knowledge as to the controlled purchase itself?
No.
Okay. However, you did prosecute this warrant. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. You said that the controlled, the confidential informant called Mr. Conley. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you request Mr. Conley's phone number and phone records for your investigation?
I did do a check of the phone records, and it did come back associated with Mr. Conley.
Okay. And what phone number was that?
470-304-6990.
6990?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And pardon me as I look at my notes. The photos that you obtained that you showed Detective Denard and your confidential informant, are those the same photos that you showed the occupants of building 1600?
I'm not sure. I never made contact with them.
You never made contact with who?
The occupants of 1604.
So who did make contact with the building occupants?
Believe the U.S. Marshals and maybe Detective Z. Williams.
Who was that detective? I didn't hear that name.
Xavier Williams.
Detective, okay, Xavier Williams, all right. So you've never spoken with any of the occupants in building 1600, is that correct?
Correct.
And so none of them have ever then identified Mr. Conley to you for any purpose, is that correct?
No, they not to me, no.
Oh, not to you, yeah, that was my question, thank you. And just to clarify, I think you said well, let me clarify. I think I've asked this question, and if I did, I apologize, but I just want to be certain on this. Did you personally ever contact the owner of the white Nissan Altima?
No, I did not.
Okay. And other than passing his picture around in that building, was there anything else that identified Mr. Conley for you as part of this investigation?
We did surveillance and saw him coming and going from the apartment with his young son and his girlfriend.
Okay. Did you participate in that surveillance?
Yes.
Okay. And in your surveillance, did you ever see him getting in that white Altima?
Not in the white Altima.
Okay.
Several other vehicles.
Okay. Judge, I don't have, oh, I'm sorry, one last question. You mentioned the U.S. Marshals. Were there any other law enforcement agencies involved in this investigation?
No.
Okay. Judge, I have no further questions at this time.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Prothro. Ms. Freeman, do you have any redirect?
No, Your Honor, the state rests.
Okay, any other witnesses by the state?
No.
Okay, Attorney Prothro, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, argument?
State waives opening.
Judge, I would argue that there is not probable cause to arrest Mr. Conley here, or at least that the warrant that was used to arrest Mr. Conley was taken out by a person who had no personal knowledge of the control by. An officer that was not present for the control by, did not observe the control by, an officer that did not conduct any of the investigation following the 3.5 month time period between the time of the alleged incident and the date the warrant was executed. During that time, did not speak with the owner of the vehicle and did not participate in identifying the alleged driver of the vehicle with residents of that building. I would argue that Officer Wilkerson does not have personal knowledge sufficient to take out this warrant. I think the warrant is sufficient in that the only identifying factor of that places Mr. Conley in any of this are the efforts of other police officers that are actually not even here for me to cross-examine them or for them to present evidence on behalf of the state. So based on those factors, Your Honor, I would ask that the court not find probable cause, because I don't think that the state has actually met their burden today, because the witness that they presented doesn't have personal knowledge to help the state establish their probable cause argument to justify holding Mr. Conley.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Prothro. Ms. Freeman?
Your Honor, thank you. The state is arguing that we believe the testimony provided by Officer Wilkerson is sufficient to bind the case over to Superior Court. Hearsay is allowed, and Officer Wilkerson testified as to the information he received from Detective Denard. Detective Wilkerson did participate in the entire operation when he was the one who met with the CRI and had those conversations with him. There was no reason for anyone to question the owner of the vehicle that was used when the officers were able to see Mr. Conley in the vehicle. They saw the transaction. They even saw him do several other transactions after this one. So the state believes that there is enough evidence to bind the case over probable cause. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Judge, if I might respond.
Well, you can, but she gets the last response to your response.
I think the additional element or the state's reference to additional cases that occurred after this transaction are not relevant for this hearing, Your Honor. I do think, though, that speaking to the owner of a vehicle that was used in an alleged crime, it would be a reasonable part of any investigation, if for no other reason, to determine the true extent of this alleged criminal behavior, and also to determine even if the possession of the vehicle that was allegedly used in this incident was lawful possession. So I do think the fact that they did not speak to the owner of the vehicle speaks volumes about the investigation itself. I do believe that as far as their identification of Mr. Conley, I don't see where they've met their probable cause burden today, Judge.
All right, Ms. Freeman?
Your Honor, again, whether or not someone, whoever the owner of the vehicle was not relevant. We have cases all the time where defendants use random cars to complete transactions or any other crimes. And so the fact that Detective Wilkerson, Detective Denard, or Detective Williams said no one wanted to find out who owned the car isn't relevant to probable cause. We believe that the identification was sufficient. And again, the state is asking that the charge of ecstasy trafficking be bound over to Superior Court.
Thank you. All right, Attorney Prothro, you've done enough of these to understand this, that hearsay evidence is admissible in a probable cause hearing. And we're at this stage of the proceeding where this is a probable cause hearing. I understand what your objections are. And you indicate that you feel like the state has not met their burden. I disagree. I believe the state has met its burden. The hearsay evidence from Officer Wilkerson that describes everything that happened in this incident and as well as Officer Wilkerson's involvement himself in this entire process is substantial. So the court finds that there is probable cause, the state has met its burden, and we're going to bind this case up to the Superior Court of Clayton County.
Thank you.
Judge, just for clarification, I believe the state just mentioned binding it over for trafficking in ecstasy. Would you clarify for the record what?
I've got trafficking in methamphetamine is what I'm looking at on the warrant.
And
I'm
that's
looking at trafficking in methamphetamine, warrant number 2019 W52685, 161331E is what
Thank
I'm.
you, Judge.
Thank you.
and
the
that's
reason
correct, Your
I
Honor. I
mentioned-
apologize. I was just reading what was I saw on the calendar in front of me.
And I was going to say that, Judge, that there's been some discrepancy, I believe, with the court's records and the Clayton County Police's records about the actual charge. So I just wanted to, for purposes of the record,
That's
clarify.
fine. Let me say this too. Let me say this. I don't know that it's a discrepancy. It could be a scrivener's error, but this would not be the best word to describe this. I'm looking at the warrant, which is what the court is going forward on. The calendars is not what dictates the court's decision. It's the warrant, and the warrant is very clear that it's trafficking in methamphetamine in violation of 161331E. Okay.
Great, thank you. Just want to clarify that, Judge. And I believe my client has a hearing on Friday. We're still on that calendar, Judge.
Is it a bond hearing?
Yes, Your
They
Honor.
are listed, Your Honor.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll talk to you, see you again on Friday. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Judge. Have a great
All right.
afternoon.
You as well. Thank you, Attorney Pro.
Thank
for your
you.
patience.
Thank you, Detective Wilkerson.
Y'all
Thank
have
you,
a good day.
Detective. You too. Thank you, Detective. Bye-bye.
All right.
And thank you. And Wilkerson,
Thank you.
okay, he logged off.
He's gone. Okay. All right.
And I don't know where Mr. Benavidez went, but I did ask.
He was in the-
Is he in the
He was
waiting room?
He's not there anymore, but that's where I kind of moved him, so I don't see him anymore.
Okay, because I did ask Investigator Ponder to have the officer on Efren to log in.
Okay.
And that's when we need an interpreter, I believe.
It is. Miss Simons, are you able to get in touch with one of our interpreters to see if they can be present in this next hearing?
Yes, I am trying to get in touch with Ms. Ramirez right now.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No problem.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll take a very brief recess or reset. And
Okay.
you know, I mean brief, just to find where our new attorney Javier Benavidez is to get an interpreter
Okay.
here. And I think there's some other paperwork that I can sign. So the only thing that we have left is Lozada Efren. Is that the last case?
That's correct. And what, Judge, what I'll do.
Hold on, there's Attorney
Oh.
Benavidez.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
All right, Attorney Benavidez, we see you in here.
Yes, Your Honor. I actually, I need to apologize. As you can see, I'm using my cell phone right now. So
Yes.
you saw me driving to a gas station to get me a cable. I don't know what happened with my cable. I just got me one, and I'm charging my phone. My phone actually died. I apologize.
No. This is all a very different type of process, and we're all working together, and we understand. I don't know when you were retained, Attorney Benavidez, but we're trying to find an interpreter now for your probable cause hearing. Is that
All right?
You're wanting to have the hearing today?
Yes, Your Honor, please.
All right, so I'm gonna say this as well. I don't know if your client wants his family to be able to view the hearing, and if so, they can go into the YouTube channel to view the hearing. This would be, so I don't know if you want to take some time to make sure that his family is present to view this.
Yes, Your Honor, I appreciate that. I
Okay.
will with them right now. If you don't mind, I'm gonna need to probably, if for some reason, when I use my cell phone in any other way than to use Zoom, it basically kicks me off. So
I see.
if I'm no longer on the screen, please forgive me.
No. Okay, I tell you what we'll do. There is a way that if you go into Clayton County Magistrate Court website, if you go into the website, it'll allow them, there's a link there that the family can click onto, and that'll bring them right into this YouTube meeting. And that's probably the better way for them to attend. So what we can do is we can take like a brief recess. What do you think? 15, 20 minutes? Is that going to be enough for you?
Yes, Your Honor, that will be plenty.
Okay, so we'll get back on this call. It's 12:18 now. we'll go back to this teleconference. Let's say 12:40. That gives you 22 minutes to kind of get everything situated.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
And
You're
Judge, and
welcome.
I have, I think I have 2 bonds that I'm going to prepare and then send as well to Ms. D. Williams.
Okay. Okay, very, very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms.
Thank you.
Bermudez is available to interpret. So I'm
Okay,
going to
great. So
invite her to the meeting.
everything's falling into place, Attorney Benavidez. We have an interpreter here who's available to come onto the call. Who's Kyle Oh, is that the officer, Bradford?
And that is, do you want
Okay.
me to just have him to stand by?
No, I'll just let him into the meeting.
Oh, okay, okay.
Attorney Benavidez, we
Yes,
have
Your
an
Honor.
interpreter. We have an interpreter who is available probably within the next few minutes. We have the officer who's the witness on the
Mhm.
What we need now is to give you some time to explain to your client's family how his family, how the family of your client rather can view these proceedings.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so are you clear? Do you need any more explanation on how to get in, or are you pretty clear with?
I'm actually pretty familiar with it. Yes, I already done it myself. So thank you.
Okay,
Thank
very,
you
very good.
much for
Very good.
explaining to me how to get in there. So,
Absolutely. So we'll reconvene at 12:40.
all right.
All right,
Sounds-
thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.